Good morning, YouTube friends and family, and welcome to today's edition of the Wellness Homesteader. So today is Thursday. We are on day 5. If you're participating in the pantry challenge, I hope things are going well for you. My initial plan this morning was to cook a dish that I think a lot of you would have the ingredients on hand for. However, by late yesterday, I knew that I had the start of another cold. Now, I'm not horridly sick yet, and I'm praying and hoping that I won't be. So I don't want to waste my treat meal, so to speak, on a day where my taste is a little bit impacted. So I decided that I needed to make myself a concoction to help me get through this cold a little bit faster. Now, I know, y'all, I'm supposed to be the wellness homesteader, and how did that happen? And the best explanation that I have for you all is I am now in an environment very frequently that has brand new germs to me, i.e. where my mom lives in the facility. So when I was there on Monday, her best friend had a cold, and they are always together, it seems. And I'm sure I got exposed that way. And no amount of hand washing, alcohol, hand sanitizer, mask wearing prevented it. So yeah, I can tell I've been sneezing, la 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 la. So I thought I would bring you some helpful tips and tricks if you are feeling a bit under the weather and you don't want to visit your local pharmacy or drugstore for over-the-counter or even prescription medications. So stay tuned. I hope y'all don't mind. I went to get my stool, and that is the stool creaking. That is not me making that noise. Okay. All right, get it away from the counter. Okay, here we go. So I wanted to give you first, before we start into all this stuff that you can't see yet, but you'll be able to see, and show you something, y'all. So these are my pea sprouts. Do you see it? Yeah, we're getting peas. So I've been rinsing them twice a day. The beet sprouts, womp, womp, womp. I don't have anything sprouted yet. I don't know how well you can see. They may not sprout. They may just be too old, or they may take longer. So I'm not ready to dump them quite yet. So that was just a little update for you. And I don't think I said in my video, it's usually like, 2 to 4 days before you can start seeing sprouting. So it's been a couple days. So I think this is day 3. So I did have some pea sprouts as of yesterday. All right. So what I wanted to share with you is there are some, what I believe are really good over-the-counter teas that will help with your cold symptoms. Now, before we get into any of this, Kym Clark has to say her disclaimer. I am not a medical doctor. I am not giving you medical advice. Always do your own research. I make no guarantees or claims about any of the products that I'm going to share with you. Always check with your physician before changing anything in your daily diet or using herbal medicine. Did that pretty much cover it? Yeah, I hate I have to say that, but I have to say that. All right, so Walmart has a product that is organic called Throat Soother. It is caffeine free. It has sort of licorice clove flavor. And let me tell you, this stuff does work. So my first symptom, I had my tonsils out when I was 16. I never get sore throats. Was a sore throat, much as the 2 colds before. Because let's just have all the colds, right? I woke up at 10:30 feeling like I'd swallowed my pillow, and followed by a helping of barbed wire. This totally took care of it with some of the spiced honey that we made to give as Christmas gifts. And y'all, that's all I've got left. I might have to make some more. So that is one. The other, and y'all, I don't know where I got this from. I think I got it from Azure. It's by Traditional Medicinals. Um, and this is their version of organic throat coat. I think this Throat Soother is the off-brand. Throat Coat is the name brand. So I think this company, the Traditional Medicinals, might have possibly been the inventor of Throat Coat. They also have a eucalyptus mint Breathe Easy. An herbal cold care. And I like these. This is elderflower spice. And what we're going to be doing today, I didn't even tell you. I'm not just going to like try to sell you products because I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm trying to share information with you. We're going to make some elderberry syrup because I want to share some side effects to some herbs that I've used on the regular and had no idea they were contraindicated with certain health conditions. So I'm just going to share for educational purposes what I have found informatively through my research. But the herbal cold care should give you some high doses of vitamin type compounds that may help speed up your cold. All right. And then the last one, which I have not drank, and I'm going to consumed, is the Echinacea Plus. And I'm going to tell you in just a moment why not. So I happen to have, don't laugh at me, I have all the teas. And I did, if I can find it, I'll link it. This is my herbal tea box. It opens up like this. I love Tazo tea. I like caffeine-free teas because I only consume coffee in the morning and I try not to have any more caffeine through the day. I just feel like that's the healthiest regime for me. One of the ones outside of Tazo that I really like, if you've never tried it, is the orange and spice. And it, again, is herbal. No caffeine. It is not organic. Steep rose hips, spices, hibiscus, orange peel, roasted chicory, natural orange flavor. So this has some of the herbal components that, if you do your research, say may help you with a respiratory illness. So let me share with you some of the books that I use on the regular. I will link what I can. Trying not to get out the chair because my back's going to wear out on me. One of my absolute favorite books is Backyard Pharmacy. And this is written by Myron and Rachel Weaver. I want to show you they are Amish. And this is so good because it will show you pictures. Let me show you this of the actual herb or a drawing. And a lot of these things, if you have weeds in your yard, you happen to have already on hand. I do find their information reliable. I never rely on one source. I always double check like some medical site to see if there's any contraindications for my personal health situation. One that's a lot more complicated, and I'm going to be honest, I haven't really used it a whole lot, is called the Herbal Medicine Maker's Handbook, a home manual by James Green, herbalist. So this is what it looks like. Very pretty book, very thick book. This, I think it is more if you are making herbal concoctions, if you will, for resale. It's a little bit complicated. And then another really great one, and y'all, I got this used off of Abe Books, or at a thrift store, but I think I got it used off Abe. It's called the Herb Bible. It's by Peter McCoy and Pamela Weston, and I've shared these before, y'all. This one happens to be hardcover, herb by herb directory, illustrates every popular and available herb, complete with botanical notes, cultivation tips, so how to grow it, and a facts panel. Talks about how to choose, how to buy, how to propagate, harvest, and store. It has great charts in it. So let me, well, okay, I just opened it to this. This tells you how to do different bath preparations. So I have used a lot of these principles in creating my skincare line, which is chamomile and lavender skincare line. So this is an excellent book. If you're just looking for some simple recipes, well, this does not have recipes, some simple ideas, this is a great book as well. All right. So what else do I have on hand that I use? So let me share if I haven't already. I try to avoid at all costs the doctor's office. Excuse me. Um, Colds are generally viruses that do not require treatment. If you develop a high fever, if you start to have difficulty breathing, all of those things, symptoms of pneumonia, sometimes that requires treatment, but there's really nothing he can do for me. Yes, I could go to the pharmacy, but many, 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 did I mention many, of the over-the-counter preparations are contraindicated for people who have high blood pressure. Well, that's never been a problem until, I don't know, like 4 months ago when I found out I had high blood pressure. So I'm not willing to take any type of a cold preparation, just partly because of side effects. And honestly, in my experience, I have found herbal remedies for me, again, not giving you medical advice, work better than all of the side effects you generally have to deal with when you're taking cold preparations from the over-the-counter pharmacy. So one of the things that I have found very soothing, and y'all, I will leave a link to these products as I can. This I definitely know you can still get. This is Young Living Thieves. They do have, I think, a cough lozenge, but these are just Thieves lozenges. That is a hard word, right? Yeah. Thieves, I've shared before, is an essential oil blend of 5 essential oils that grave robbers who were robbing bodies during the Black Plague were utilizing this combination, probably to cover up the smell, just saying, probably. But they didn't get the Black Plague, which is highly contagious. The lozenges, now I can't eat a whole one at once, like I have to take it off, put it on a paper plate or something. They're strong to me, but they are definitely soothing. They help keep your mucous membranes really nice and moist in your throat so you don't feel like you've just eaten a whole roll of barbed wire. It has lemon, peppermint, cloves, cinnamon, eucalyptus, and rosemary. So that is one of the things I've been utilizing. The other item, and guys, in full honesty, I just started this morning. I've had it sitting up on display to remind me to take it. Have I taken it, you ask? Why, no. No, I have not. So this is called MuPro, and I had to look it up because I wasn't really sure. This is primarily wolfberry, or some people call them goji berries. I always want to call them goji berries. So goji berries or wolfberries can be quite controversial as far as what they really do. When they first gained popularity as a superfruit, there was claims that a Chinese man lived to 256 years of age, and this is all he ate were wolfberries, not MuPro, but at any rate. However, large doses of wolfberry or goji, I think I said loji again, goji berries, it can interfere if you're taking blood thinners, diabetes medication, and some types of heart medication, like for a high heart rate, so your lanoxins, digoxins, and also high blood pressure. So you don't want to go on a steady diet of wolfberry. I think we all kind of have a tendency. Okay, maybe I'll speak for myself. Sometimes if it's one a day, you think, well, if I take 2, maybe I'll have more immune protection. So don't overdo it. That's kind of my overarching piece of advice, along with check with your physician. So I started taking that this morning. Then I went into my herbs and medicinals. Now, I don't share a lot on my channel about what I have, kind of from a twofold reason. One is the liability standpoint, And number two is I always fear someone will hurt themselves, and I want you to be really careful. So I am going to share some of the side effects of things as I share the benefits as well. So I learned something new this morning, y'all. So this is echinacea root. So echinacea are the beautiful cone flowers, which I have growing beautifully along the front side of my property, but it's the root. And being a perennial, if you pull up the root, you won't have echinacea next year, just saying. So, well, that plant anyway. So I was doing my research, and echinacea has long been part of many different natural cold remedies. Well, let me tell y'all something. I looked up the contraindications, and I do have access, y'all, just from my career, to some medical sites that may have more information than just Googling it or looking on WebMD. If you have lupus, you should not drink echinacea tea. So my echinacea tea, I will regift. If you have MS, HIV or AIDS, or TB. So it appears that it can have some adverse effect on your immune system. So it may rev up your immune system, and in most autoimmune disorders, or in half of what I mentioned, like the lupus and the MS, your body is attacking itself. So I was going to put some echinacea root in our elderberry syrup, and I decided against it. The second item that I have is licorice root. So I love licorice. I love licorice flavor. I love aniseed. I love it all. So that doesn't bother me. Licorice root kind of tastes like licorice, and kind of doesn't. It's not overpowering black licorice taste, but it's really good for sore throats. But again, only in moderation. So you can steep this, make a tea. If you have kidney disease and certain types of heart disease, too much licorice root can impair your potassium sodium balance. So some of the electrolytes, if you will, in your body, and cause harm. So again, guys, everything in moderation. Always check with your physician. I also have some valerian root, which I kind of forgot I had. And you can make a tea out of this, and it really does help with sleep. And since I haven't slept in, like, I don't know, 38 years since my son was born, not quite, guys, but I do have some sleep troubles. I'm going to give that a try since I'm into my tea phase of the year. And I apologize, you guys, my heat just cut on. We had such beautiful weather the last 2 days. We had 63 for a high on Tuesday, 60 yesterday, and it's like 30 degrees this morning. So yeah, my heat's running. The final item that I have that I am going to put in to our elderberry syrup concoction, my recipe, again, no guarantees, are some organic sifted rose hips. And I think y'all know rose hips are extremely high in vitamin C. It's the part of the rose plant that looks like, pardon me, a little berry. Very, not floral at all. You can put it in tea for a vitamin C rich herbal tea. You can add it to jelly, syrups, pies, breads, and even wine. And this gives you how to use it. And I got this from Azure, so this is new. I haven't even opened it. It is in my other bag. Okay, where are we here? I am going to share with you how I'm going to brew up a cup of some different kind of tea before we get started on our elderberry syrup. And I hope you'll stay tuned. And maybe y'all, even if you're not sick, these are some nice, comforting, healthy type teas that are caffeine free. All right, stay tuned. Ready to make some tea. So I actually have, and I will link it below, a Bideem tea maker, or hot pot, I guess you would call it. So it's over here. I think you can kind of see. So it's just your standard water heating pot, but it has this cool little thing that you slide in, and then you can brew your tea, and it automatically strains. So I thought, I've been looking in my fridge because I don't want to waste anything during the pantry challenge that happens to be fresh. Hello, Frank. Is it for Frankies? I'm sorry, y'all. Hey, you need to... Mama making a video. Can you get your face out of my tea? No? He's very interested in all the herbs, y'all. Frank. Oh, my goodness, buddy. Come here. Say hi to the people. Woo-wee. Slippy slide. Okay. Hello to all the people. Look. Oh, hello. Yes, say hello. My name is Frankie. Mm-hmm. You're a pretty boy. All right, go play. Go play or take a nap. Oh, my word. Let me wash my hands again for the 11th time. No one's going to be drinking this tea but me, but still. I love my Frankie. All right, so first thing I'm going to do, let me tip you down, is I bought these. I've always called them cuties, but they're like little mandarin oranges around Christmas time, thinking my son loves them, you know, and they're so holiday-ish, right? Fact of the matter is, I thought he would take them home with him because he loves them so much, and he's like, yeah, I'm all set on oranges, Mom. So I've been left with a whole bag, and they, just being honest, they're not my favorite. They taste delicious. I don't like all the pithy stuff in here, just not my thing. So I'm going to put in 3 mandarin oranges into our little filtery thing, and then you could use plain tea. You could use loose tea. I'm going to be making 5 cups of tea. I want this tea to be really, really flavorful. And so I'm using the Bigelow Orange and Spice Herb Tea. And I already read you the ingredients, that it has, you know, hibiscus and rosehips and all the things that are healthy for us. So I'm just going to shove those down in there. Probably should have put those in first. And then, really, guys, the sky's the limit. So I have some whole cloves. I love cloves and, yeah, all of the warm spices. So I'm also going to put from Azure, I'm going to put 1 Ceylon cinnamon stick. Just going to shove that down in there. Ceylon cinnamon is a lot softer. It's very easy to break up. You can do it with your hands, unlike like a McCormick or whatever. Well, I'm not going to break it up because then it'll get too cinnamony, but it is very easy to break up. And then let me grab my opener. I love star anise. So that's the licorice flavor. And I have some whole anise. So I'm only going to put 3 because you can get it really licoricey. Woo-wee, that smells like licorice. And now what we need to do is grow a couple inches. I'll show you here in a minute, guys. I'm sorry. So I've just popped it in. Ooh, sorry about my hand. To the biting pot. I'm going to put the lid on. It has an open and a close on it. And then you can choose what temperature. So this is a blackcurrant herbal tea. So I'm going to press that, and it's going to automatically brew. So I may run this through like a couple brew cycles just to extract the maximum flavor out. Let me clean up this mess, and then we will get on to making our excuse me, elderberry syrup. So what you're going to need to make your elderberry syrup is some type of container to store it in. So if I have these old store-bought kombucha bottles with a special seal on them. My son, when he was living here, I save everything, just saying, loved kombucha, and it was before I learned how to make it. So I saved the bottles, and it's perfect. Now, I have had questions. I've done one previous video on elderberry syrup, and I'm going to modify the recipe. It's one of the reasons I wanted to bring it to you today. I've had questions, can you can it? Pressure can it, or water bath can it? And the answer is you're going to destroy, with the pressure and the temperatures, you're going to destroy a lot of the beneficial properties. Freeze it. So I will be freezing in these glass bottles so that I will have a long-term supply. And I need to get back on it because I used to take it faithfully and I quit. That is just our tea. I'm going to let that kind of hang there for a few minutes while we work on this. So I'm actually going to be making a double batch. Let me read the recipe, the basic recipe for like one batch. So it's 3.5 cups of water, 2/3 cup dried elderberry. I dry mine. They are grown organically. My back neighbor brings them to me. 2 tablespoons of grated ginger, a teaspoon of cinnamon, half teaspoon of ground cloves, and a cup of raw honey. I'm going to do it a little bit differently. So I have put in my pan here 7 cups of water, because if I'm going to make it, I'm going to make a lot. Because what we're going to do is we're going to cook this down until it reduces by half. So we're going to lose a lot of volume anyway. So I am going, you can buy elderberry. I had stuck this in here so I knew what it was, but these are local organic elderberry. Some of mine still have stems in it. I'm going to tell you that ahead of time. We will be sieving it out, so it doesn't really matter. So instead of 2/3 of a cup of elderberries, I need 1 1/3. Ciphering is hard this time of the day, right? So let's do 1/3 and a 1. I have been also asked, what does this taste like? And I'm going to tell you straight up, I don't like it. But I find it does have benefits for me, so I'm willing to endure the taste. That's why I'm spicing it a little bit differently, because I am not a huge fan of the flavor of the elderberry. Just me. So you can hear, since these are freeze-dried, they're like sucking up all the water. All right. Now I need 2 tablespoons of grated ginger. And ginger is something that I like. I need 4 tablespoons. I like to keep it on hand. But I'm also here to tell y'all, don't kill yourself peeling it. If there's obviously bad spots, like that's probably about 4 tablespoons, you would want to get rid of that. What I'm going to do real quick here, besides make a huge mess, let me grab my cutting board. I do see there's a little bit of dryness here on the end that I am going to cut off. I'm just going to coarsely chop this, and not with that itty bitty knife. Just saying. This might actually be more than 4 tablespoons. You can grate it, you can peel it, you can do all those things. I'm not doing any of that. Yeah, I just think that's overkill. 1, 2. We're probably at about 4 right there. And you can measure it, y'all. I'm not real interested in being exact and precise. Okay. Now to this, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Wow, I've done a great job getting stuff ready, haven't I, guys? Oh, my word. So, 2 teaspoons. I'm sorry, guys. I love cinnamon. So you can increase your spices, non-medicinal spices, if you prefer. So I'm going to add a little extra cinnamon it calls for half of a teaspoon of ground cloves for the original recipe. I'm going to use a heaping teaspoon. I love clove. Go ahead and turn this on. Get it coming up to temperature. The honey we will not be adding until that it has reduced and cooled, because you want that benefit of hopefully local raw honey if you have that available to you. Now, I am going to add some black peppercorn. And the reason for that, maybe, I know this lid comes off because I've had it off before. Maybe it's this part that comes off. Or maybe, okay, there we go. I'm going to add maybe like a teaspoon. I find between the elderberry and all that honey, which you can cut your honey back a little bit, it's just, yeah. So my son suggested I added black pepper. So I've been doing that ever since, and I really appreciate it. I also switched from using powdered ginger to raw ginger, and I think that also makes a big difference. So what we're going to do here is we're going to bring it to a boil, then we're going to simmer it for probably around an hour until it's about half in size. And we've already reduced it like 1/4 of an inch because these were freeze-dried elderberries, not just dehydrated. So they're, if y'all can hear them, they're still rehydrating. So I'm going to kind of red up my mess here because I've made a pretty big one. Let this boil. I will bring you back at the end of 45 minutes to an hour, and then we'll talk about next steps, how to strain it, and we'll get it bottled up. I almost forgot my rose hips. So I am going to add a tablespoon of the rose hips. So this is going to give it an extra vitamin C punch for us. So sorry about that. He's a good kitty. He's a good kitty. A little more than an hour has elapsed, but as you see, we've greatly reduced our concoction. One of the things that I have been doing is smashing the berries with the back of a spoon. So since I just touched my nose, hang on guys. All right. So over here I have a 2-cup measuring cup along with a metal strainer, sieve, whatever you call it. I think sieve is kind of a country term, but, and you want to slowly and carefully, don't burn yourself, start to drip some all over your countertop. It will stain a little bit, so my recommendation is wipe it up. So what I like to do is go ahead and smash it really good and get all the juice that you can out of those berries. And then I plan to compost what I'm straining out. I just cleaned my compost bucket. Also, someone sent me an email, Gwen, asking for a link to a book from the last video, and I'm not sure which book. So I sent you an email back, but if you didn't get it or you're just now seeing this, let me know. I don't want to send you the wrong thing. Okay. Now I'm going to just rinse this out so I don't have any berries or like whole berries in the syrup. because I'm going to put the juice back in here so we can add our honey. So same process here, just smushing them out. And y'all, I apologize. I was editing the first half of the video and I'm like, could you please stop sniffing and coughing and clearing your throat? But I have a cold. It doesn't mean I can't do a video, right? And maybe it'll be helpful for you. All right. I think we've got all the goodness out of there. Make sure there's no whole berries. So we ended up, we did reduce by half. We started out with 7 cups of water and we have about 3.5 cups of liquid. So, hey, good eye, Kym. Can't breathe, but I got a good eye. So I'm just going to pop that back in there. And, whoo, clean up my mess. And, you know, this is a little bit hot. I don't like adding honey when it's quite this hot because I feel like that it degrades the honey a little bit. You want it still warm enough that the honey will liquefy. I have a 16-ouncer of honey. I plan to add that whole jar. Let me do this. Let me let this cool for a few minutes. I'll bring you right back and we'll get to bottling up. Stay tuned. All right, I've added 16 fluid ounces by weight, not volume, of honey to our elderberry syrup. I did not measure out 2 cups. I would say, because I'm doubling the recipe, it's 1 cup for the regular recipe. I would say it was about 1.5 cups. I did a little taste. It tastes fine to me. So what I'm going to use, because I'm super sloppy, is a funnel, and you could use a canning ladle. I'm just using a soup ladle. And if you're going to freeze it, please make sure you allow for expansion and obviously let it cool before you put it in the freezer. But I'm going to fill up the first bottle pretty high because this is what I'm going to consume now. This is a 16-ounce bottle, so definitely this will last me a month or so in the fridge and still retain its potency. So I feel comfortable in doing that. So let's see. We've done, this needs a little bit of stir. Sometimes the honey will want to settle towards the bottom. Y'all, I'm sorry. I'm trying not to sniff. All right. So how would you use this? Well, since it's only me, I am comfortable swigging out the bottle because nobody else is taking it in the household. If that was different, I would probably, you know, spoon it out like the proper way instead of just, you know, drinking it out the bottle. But you can use this straight, which is how I generally do. You're supposed to take, and hang on, 1 to 2 tablespoons a day. Literature says that you can take a tablespoon every couple of hours if you're right in the midst of a cold. So, you know, that is an option as well. I know I didn't fill these really full. I'm just going to barely put the lids on those. But I also don't want to break my good glass bottles. So you can put it also in tea. I will tell you, one of the keys for me in making the flavor a little bit better is don't slack on your reduction time. It just really enhances your flavors that you're adding to if you don't like the taste of elderberry. Elderberries are quite sour, and the honey is quite sweet. So, you know, play with your honey ratio and your spice ratio like I've done. But I really am pleased with, I think this is the best tasting batch I've made, just saying. And I think that switch to peppercorns, ginger, and less honey, fresh ginger, and less honey really made a difference. So I really hope this has helped you today to have a healthy respect, if you will, for um, medicinal herbs and using them safely. I hope you've enjoyed today as well. If you would please do me a big favor, go ahead and smash that like button. Drop me a comment below. What is your secret to your elderberry syrup? Is there something else that you add that you feel enhances the taste? So I will see you all on Tuesday. That will give me a few days to get not sniffing. And again, guys, I'm so sorry. But anyway, I will see you on Tuesday with a whole new subject topic. Yeah, okay, that sounds right. So, in the meanwhile, take care of yourself, take care of each other, be healthy, be well, be blessed, take care.